Okay, so today we're going to deconstruct something that's, well, it's pretty fascinating and honestly very intense. We're looking at a Japanese Christian gospel tract. But this isn't your average leaflet. This thing is specifically engineered to reach a person at their absolute rock bottom. So let's dive in and see how it's built. Right out of the gate, it hits you with this incredibly direct and urgent command: do not harm yourself. There's no introduction, no easing in. It cuts straight to the core of a life or death crisis. And that immediately sets this very serious, very empathetic tone. So, just so we're all on the same page, what we're doing here in this explainer is we're breaking down the communication strategy of this document. We're trying to understand how it's put together piece by piece to deliver its message in a moment of extreme vulnerability. All right, first up, let's look at how this tract even begins to connect with the person reading it. It doesn't just talk in vague terms. It gets super specific about the sources of their pain. And, this is a really crucial first move in its whole strategy. Now, this is where it gets really smart. Look at this list. It names these incredibly relatable and deeply profound struggles. We're talking stress at school, issues with family, and that just overwhelming feeling that there are no solutions left. By listing these things out, the tract is basically saying, hey, I see you. I get your specific pain. And that is an absolute key for building trust right away. And then it goes to a whole other level of direct. It actually names Aokigahara Forest and Mount Mihara, two places in Japan that are tragically famous as suicide sites. I mean, this isn't some general warning anymore. This is a direct intervention aimed at someone who might literally be on their way to one of these places. That kind of specificity, it's jarring, and it's absolutely intentional. So after identifying the crisis so directly, the tract doesn't just leave you there wallowing in the problem. No, it immediately pivots to action. It starts building a bridge from that place of despair to a totally different path. And you gotta see how brilliant this is from a psychological standpoint. The simplicity here is everything. When you're in a crisis, your brain is overloaded. You can't process complex ideas. So by offering 3 simple physical actions, find a space, kneel, say a name, it bypasses all that mental chaos. It takes that huge question of, what do I do now, and shrinks it down to a manageable, immediate task. So that immediate action brings us right to the core of the tract's entire message, its religious framework. It's offered a what to do, and now it provides the why behind that action. Now, notice how it defines Jesus here. It's not about complex theology. It's all about function. He's presented as an active, accessible helper. He's someone who gets pain because he's seen it and healed it. And most importantly, he's alive and can hear you right now. This whole framing is designed for maximum relevance in that exact moment of crisis. And wow, this line, it just perfectly captures the emotional climax of the prayer it provides. Save me now. The walls are closing in around me. That phrasing gives a voice to a feeling of complete and utter desperation. The tract is literally handing the words to someone who might not have any of their own left. And you see, it's really careful to frame this as more than just saying some words. It's positioned as this huge, transformative event, a cry to a living God. The message is clear. This single moment, this one act, has the power to change everything that comes after. So after that cry for help, what's next? The tract doesn't just end there. It moves really quickly to sketch out a future, offering both these big promises of comfort and a structured plan for what to do next. And of course, it brings in scripture. But look at the verse they chose. It's a direct quote promising rest. Now, if you're someone who feels completely crushed by life's burdens, that promise of rest, that is an incredibly powerful and appealing idea. And to make sure that promise feels real, it gives you another simple checklist. But unlike the first one, this list is all about the long haul. Find a book, start reading a specific part, take part in a ceremony. This creates a clear, structured path forward, leading you away from the crisis. And this idea of baptism, it's defined so clearly as a symbol of total transformation. The concept of your old life dying so a new life can begin, well, that speaks directly to the desire for escape that might have led to this crisis in the first place. But it reframes that desire as a positive rebirth instead of a destructive end. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and just piece together the whole strategy here. What are the core techniques we've just deconstructed that make this thing tick? At its absolute core, the logic here is about direct replacement.
For every single don't, it gives you a do. Don't go to that place of despair. Do find a private space for prayer. This is such a powerful psychological tool because it doesn't just forbid something, it replaces that destructive impulse with a constructive alternative.
So when you put it all together, you can see this incredibly deliberate design. It intercepts a person in crisis, it builds empathy by getting specific, it gives an immediate physical off-ramp, it presents a very clear problem and solution story, and then it lays out a structured path forward. And the language through it all is urgent, direct, and built for a moment when the brain just can't handle complexity.
And all of this kind of leaves us with a really big, important question to chew on. When you look at a document like this, one that uses a religious framework to step into a mental health emergency, it really makes you wonder, what is the role and what are the implications of using faith-based communication in these broader public health crises? It's a complex topic, for sure, and one that this little tract brings into really sharp focus.